Welcome to Learning English from People.
Marilyn Monroe, the woman inside the goddess. The world saw a beautiful star. They saw Marilyn Monroe, but inside there was a different person. Her name was Norma Jeane, who was the real woman behind the famous smile. She was one of the most famous people in the world, but she often felt very alone. Men everywhere loved her, but she was always looking for real love. This is the story of a girl who became a legend, but who spent her whole life searching for a simple, happy life. Her story began in a hospital in Los Angeles on June 1, 1926. The baby girl's name was Norma Jeane Mortensen. Her mother, Gladys Baker, worked with movie film, but she was not ready to be a mother. She had little money, and she had serious mental health problems. The father's name on the birth certificate was not her real father. For her whole life, Norma Jeane did not know who her real father was. This made her feel lost from the very beginning. Because Gladys could not take care of her, baby Norma Jeane went to live with another family. They were called foster parents. For the first 7 years of her life, this was her home. It was a quiet, religious house. Her mother, Gladys, would visit on the weekends. To Norma Jeane, her mother was like a beautiful stranger, not a real parent. This was the only stable time in her childhood. In 1933, Gladys tried to make a home for her daughter. She bought a small house and they lived together. But this happy time did not last long. The next year, Gladys had a severe mental breakdown. She had to go to a special hospital. She would spend most of the rest of her life there. Norma Jeane was alone again. She was now a ward of the state, which means the government had to take care of her. The next 10 years were very hard for Norma Jeane. She moved from one foster home to another. For a time, she lived in an orphanage, a home for children with no parents. To a young girl, this felt like the world had forgotten her. She was a quiet, shy child. She even started to stutter when she spoke because she was so nervous and sad. During these years, something terrible also happened. Men hurt her when she was a child. This was a dark secret that she carried with her forever. It left deep scars on her heart and made it hard for her to trust people. Her world was often cold and lonely. Her only escape was the movies. She would sit in the dark theater for hours and watch the beautiful stories on the big screen. The movies showed a world that was exciting and safe. It was there that she had a dream. She wanted to be an actress. When Norma Jeane was 16, her foster family had to move away. She was afraid she would have to go back to the orphanage. So a different plan was made. She would get married. She married her neighbor's son, a 21-year-old man named James Doherty. She was just a child bride. The marriage kept her safe, but she was not in love. She later said she was dying of boredom. A year later, her husband joined the army to fight in the war. He went away, and their marriage was really over. A new door was opening for Norma Jeane. Her big change started in a factory. While her husband was at war, Norma Jeane worked in a factory that made parts for airplanes. One day, an army photographer came to take pictures of women working for the war. He saw Norma Jeane. He thought she was very special in front of the camera. The photos were never used by the army, but they changed her life. Norma Jeane quit her job at the factory. She decided to become a model. She signed with a modeling agency. The owner told her to change her curly brown hair. She dyed it blonde. The change was amazing. Soon, her face was on the covers of many magazines. She was a successful model, but she wanted more. She still dreamed of being an actress. In 1946, she got her first contract with a movie studio, 20th Century Fox. A man at the studio, Ben Lyon, thought she needed a new name. He suggested Marilyn. She chose the last name Monroe, which was her mother's family name. On that day, Norma Jeane was gone. Marilyn Monroe was born. In the same year, she divorced her husband. Her old life was finished. The movie studio gave her lessons in acting, singing, and dancing. But she only got very small parts in movies. The studio bosses did not think she was special. After 6 months, they ended her contract. She then got a short contract with another studio, Columbia Pictures. She only starred in one small movie there. By 1949, her dream seemed to be over. She was a model again, not a movie star. During this difficult time, she did 2 important things. First, she needed money badly, so she posed for pictures with no clothes on. These nude photos would be a big problem later, but they would also, in a strange way, help her. Second, she met a man named Johnny Hyde. He was a very powerful agent in Hollywood. He believed in her. He became her teacher, her friend, and her champion. Johnny Hyde used his power to get her small roles in 2 very good movies. One was a crime story called The Asphalt Jungle. The other was a famous film called All About Eve. She was only on the screen for a few minutes in each movie, but everyone noticed her. People could not forget the beautiful blonde girl. She had a special light. Just before he died in 1950, Johnny Hyde did one last thing for her. He got her a new 7-year contract with 20th Century Fox. Marilyn was heartbroken by his death, but she now had a real chance. Her career started to grow fast. People who watched movies loved her. Thousands of fans wrote letters to her every week. In 1952, the nude photos from her past appeared in a calendar. This could have ended her career. It was a huge scandal. But Marilyn was smart. She did not hide. She told the newspapers that she took the pictures because she was poor and hungry. The public loved her honesty. They felt sorry for her. The scandal did not destroy her. It made her even more famous. The studio used this new fame. They put her in many movies. Some were serious dramas which she wanted to do, but it was the comedies that made her a star. In movies like Monkey Business, she started to play a character that became famous, the dumb blonde. This character was very beautiful and sweet, but not very smart. She did not seem to know how much men loved her. The year 1953 was her biggest year. She starred in 3 huge movies. The first was Niagara. In this film, she was a beautiful but dangerous woman. There was a famous scene where she just walked away from the camera. The way she walked became iconic. It made her a powerful sex symbol. Next, she starred in a musical comedy, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. In this movie, she played a fun-loving singer who loves diamonds. She sang the song, "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend." This performance is one of the most famous in movie history. It perfected her dumb blonde character, but she did it in a smart and funny way. Her third big movie was How to Marry a Millionaire. By the end of the year, Marilyn Monroe was the biggest star in Hollywood. But the star was not happy. She was trapped. The studio paid her much less money than other big stars, and they only gave her dumb blonde roles. She wanted to be a serious actress, but the studio boss, Darryl F. Zanuck, did not like her. He always said no to her requests for better parts. In early 1954, she fought back. The studio wanted her to be in another silly musical. She said no. This was a very brave thing to do. The studio was furious. They suspended her, which meant she could not work. To show she was still a star, she did something very public. She married the famous baseball hero, Joe DiMaggio. America's sports hero and America's movie goddess were now together. After her wedding, she flew to Korea to perform for American soldiers. Thousands of them cheered for her. This made her even more popular. The studio knew they needed her. They made a new deal, and she came back to Hollywood. She started work on a new movie, The 7-Year Itch. This movie has one of the most famous images of the 20th century. Marilyn stands over a subway grate in New York City. A train passes below, and the air blows her white dress up around her. The studio filmed this scene in public, and thousands of people came to watch. The moment made her famous all over the world, but it destroyed her marriage. Her husband, Joe DiMaggio, was a very private and jealous man. He was angry and embarrassed by the scene. Their marriage lasted only 9 months. The dress scene was another turning point. At the end of 1954, Marilyn did something no star had done before. She broke her contract with the studio and left Hollywood. She moved to New York City. There, she started her own movie company. She wanted to control her own career. She would not be just a product anymore. She would be the boss. She spent the next year in New York improving herself. She studied at a famous acting school called the Actors Studio. She wanted to learn the method, a new way of acting that was very serious and emotional. Her teacher, Lee Strasberg, became a very important person in her life. He was like a father to her. Her rebellion worked. The studio in Hollywood was desperate. They needed their biggest star back. They offered her a new contract. This time, Marilyn had the power. She got a huge salary. She could choose her own movies and directors. She had one. Her first movie with her new power was Bus Stop. She played a simple singer in a small town. She did not look glamorous. She looked real. Her acting was deep and full of feeling. The critics were surprised. They said she had finally proved she was a real actress. That same year, she married for the 3rd time. Her new husband was Arthur Miller, one of America's greatest writers. People were fascinated. They called the couple the Egghead and the Hourglass. For Marilyn, this marriage was a chance to find the respect and quiet life she always wanted. She moved to the East Coast to live with him. Her next movie was made by her own company. It was called The Prince and the Showgirl. They filmed it in England with the famous actor Laurence Olivier. The work was very difficult. Olivier was a classic actor. He did not understand Marilyn's emotional style of acting. He was not kind to her. Marilyn became very insecure. She was often late to the set. She was scared and unhappy. After a break of almost 2 years, she returned to Hollywood. She made what many people think is her best comedy, Some Like It Hot. Making the movie was very hard for her. She was very frightened of acting now. She also started to depend on pills to calm her nerves. She often forgot her lines. One scene took 47 takes to get right, but on the screen, she was magic. Her performance as the sweet singer Sugar Cane was perfect. She won a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress. Some Like It Hot was her last great success. After this high point, her life began a sad decline. Her marriage to Arthur Miller was falling apart. He wrote a movie for her called The Misfits. The story was about a sad, lost woman, a character very much like Marilyn herself. It was painful for her to play this part. The filming in the hot Nevada desert was an awful experience. Her drug use was now a serious problem. Her health was bad. She and Miller were not speaking. It was the end of their love. When the movie was finished, their marriage was too. She divorced Arthur Miller in early 1961. The next year was very dark. She had several surgeries. She was fighting a deep depression. She went into a psychiatric clinic for help, but because of a mistake, they put her in a room for very sick patients. She was locked in a padded cell. It was her ex-husband, Joe DiMaggio, who saved her. They had become friends again, and he got her moved to a better hospital. In the spring of 1962, she tried to make a comeback. She started a new comedy film called Something's Got to Give. But she was sick often. The studio had no patience. They said she was faking her illness. In May, she took a break from the film. She flew to New York to sing at President John F. Kennedy's birthday party. She wore a tight, sparkling dress. Her slow, breathy version of Happy Birthday, Mr. President, became a legend. The studio was furious. A few weeks later, they fired her. In the last months of her life, she was trying to fix her career. The studio realized they made a mistake and wanted to hire her back. She did interviews and took beautiful photos for magazines. But in private, she was very lonely. She depended on a mix of prescription drugs to sleep and to manage her anxiety. On the night of August 4, 1962, this dependency became fatal. She was found dead in her bedroom. The phone was in her hand. The official report said she died from taking too many sleeping pills. It was called a probable suicide. She was only 36 years old. Her funeral was small and private. Joe DiMaggio planned it all. He did not invite the famous people from Hollywood. He believed they had destroyed her. For 20 years after her death, he had red roses delivered to her grave, 3 times a week. After she died, Marilyn Monroe became bigger than life. The sad story of her death made her a myth. She is still one of the most famous icons in the world. Her picture is everywhere. She is a symbol of Hollywood glamour, of beauty, and of the dark side of fame. The real person was full of contradictions. The dumb blonde on the screen was not real. In her home, she had a library with over 400 books. She loved to read. She was a smart and strong businesswoman who fought a powerful studio and won. But this strong woman was also very fragile. The sadness of her childhood never went away. It left her feeling that she was not good enough. This fear made her a perfectionist. It also made her terrified of acting. On a movie set, she was not difficult because she was a diva. She was difficult because she was scared. She was a brilliant comedian, but she always wanted to be seen as a serious artist. She created the character of Marilyn Monroe, a perfect vision of sex and innocence. But she could never feel comfortable being that person. She was always still Norma Jeane, the lonely girl looking for love. This is her legacy. The shining star on the screen and the haunted woman behind it, forever connected, forever fascinating the world.